Welcome, everyone. Welcome to your meditation practice. Lovely to see all of you. So please take a moment to find that comfortable position for your body. And just finding that extension for your spine, as if your sides are long. The head is slightly tipped forward, subdued posture, not too far up or down. Make sure your shoulders are not up by your ears. You can either be seated cross-legged on a cushion or a wide enough chair, or feel free to sit in a chair. You could sit on a sofa. Just make sure your spine is as extended as possible, that you're not leaning too heavily against the back of the chair. Your spine, your back will become strong after a while from familiarity with this posture. I'm so ready to get in person with people again at Land of Medicine Buddha and other centers. We can do that safely. It's just nicer to sit with people like that in person. But for now, this is fantastic. Slowly close your eyes. Begin to bring the gaze inward as you deepen your respiration. Imagine on an inhalation, you're bringing in space to any places you're holding tension in your body right now. Imagine that opening up the space there. And as you exhale deeply, release that tension as best as you can. You can even scan from the very top of your head all the way down through your body. Let's just allow ourselves to relax right now, which is an incredibly important component of meditation. I'm going to take you through this relaxation meditation right now. We tend to skip this step. People plunk themselves down on a seat or a cushion, right? As if the meditative space should just open up, okay? We're so wound up from our busy lives. Let's take the time to relax so the meditation can come organically. So begin at the top of your head right now. Let's scan down to the back of our head, the sides of our head, our brow and jaw, where we store a lot of tension. Keep a normal, natural breath moving as you try to release any tension you find you're holding in your face, around your ears. Let it all go. And sometimes it helps when we actually focus specifically on a part of the body and name it, as opposed to a general scan of the body. Moving down to the neck and shoulders, where we store a lot of tension. Use your inhalation to open up space there, specifically in the neck and shoulders. An exhalation to release that tension. And if you'd like, send your shoulder blades down your back. which helps support a more erect posture. Many times as we age, we start slouching. It's very normal. Release the tension in your back. Moving down through your upper arms, focusing there and on the elbows, lower arms, wrists, hands, and fingers, releasing any tension you're storing there. Moving down to your chest, releasing any tension there, your waist and hips where we store a lot of tension. Using the inhalation again to open up space. Exhalation to release that tension as best as you can. Focusing on the lower part of our body now, our rear end, upper thighs, moving down through the knees, where we store a lot of tension. Open up space there as you breathe in. It's often hard for people's knees as they sit. Slowly over time in a certain position, if you'd like to be in a cross-legged position, your body will become familiar with the position and adapt. You just try your best. And releasing tension in your shins, ankles, and feet, and all the way out your toes. Letting the tension go, bringing yourself to as relaxed a place as possible. So how's the posture of the mind right now? We've just set the posture of the body. How's your mind right now? You just want to have a look at how you're feeling. Gently have a look, okay? This isn't about a judgment of I'm in a bad mood this morning, I'm terrible. Just observe in a detached manner because we can work on our mind. It's a benefit of being a human who's met the Dharma. You can control what you want to direct your energy to. You just have a look. What really helps us right now is to set a good motivation. Good motivation to help us do this practice that orients your mind in a most positive way. What we're focused on in this tradition is helping all living beings. I think so many of you want to do that, benefiting all living beings. It's very hard to do it as a human being. We're very limited. If we become enlightened and become a Buddha, fully awakened being, we can do it perfectly. Kind of the center of our being, it's all we want to do. And we manifest it every moment. Just think about that for a moment. If I can become enlightened, which we can all do, because we all have a seed of Buddha nature in our being, in our mind. Every being with a consciousness has Buddha nature. It doesn't mean you're a Buddha yet. It means you have the potential to develop into a Buddha. And this is one chance to create some positive conditions in that direction. So please set a positive motivation right now, and as much as you can, considering all living beings, your ability to help them one day, if you're interested in that, as a Buddha, as a fully awakened being. So it's for this purpose, to benefit all living beings. We'll do this meditation right now. That's why we're here right now. We'd like to feel that in your heart. Let's clear out some of the cobwebs, subtle cobwebs from our mind, subtle energy system with the 9-round breathing. Just a pranayama practice, like an alternate nostril breathing. We're going to begin with exhalation. So we're going to start by closing off the right nostril. I know it may look like my left on the camera, but it's not. You're going to exhale deeply through your left nostril. And as you inhale, close off the left nostril, inhaling deeply through the right. Imagine you're releasing anger and hostility from your mind stream. If you're conflicted of what to do for Ukraine right now, okay, we can at least subdue our own minds, keep ourselves out of our own community's aggravation, hatred, anger. You subdue it in your own mind. That has an effect on the planet. Absolutely has an effect. We can't save the planet individually, but collectively, we can create this positive energy. 3 times. Exhaling through the left nostril, inhaling deeply through the right. Second round, we're going to be closing off the left nostril, exhaling deeply through the right nostril. As we inhale, close off the right nostril, inhaling deeply through the left. Imagine you're releasing attachment and desire from your mind stream 3 times. Our last round, we're exhaling deeply through both nostrils, inhaling deeply through both nostrils, clearing confusion and ignorance from our mind 3 times. And please allow your mind to rest on a normal, natural breath. And begin by following the air. Imagine it going in your nostrils. Notice the expansion of the lungs, perhaps shifting of the abdomen. Upon an exhalation, the contraction and the air up and out the nostrils. Just follow there, 5 minutes. The mind wanders, simply become aware and bring it back to the breath. Feel free to use techniques to bring your mind back to the breath. You can count your breaths. One inhalation, one exhalation counts as one. If that helps you concentrate better, see how far you can count before your mind wanders. If it does, simply become aware, bring your mind back to the breath. Begin counting at one. You can also label your distraction. If it's mental activity that distracts you, which is very common, label it thinking or a thought. Back to the breath. You don't need to go into an elaborative story. Just back to the breath. Maybe it's a sound that distracts you. It's simply hearing or a sound. Back to the breath. 5 minutes. Try your best. So please relax. And if you need to adjust your position, please feel free. What's enormously helpful with just basic breathing meditation and focusing the mind on the breath, our familiarity with this over time, you can build this consistently into your practice. It just helps us deal with all the intricacies of life right now. So you might be at a meeting on Zoom with colleagues and you're not appreciating something someone's saying. You notice a judgment about somebody. Right there on the screen, I can just notice, deepen my breath. And just with basic mindfulness, I might notice irritation arising in my mind. That's all. A bubble of irritation. Maybe you notice a bubble of fear or anxiety arising in your mind at times. You can notice, right? Let the bubble go. There's no need to make it a bigger story about it, a bigger drama. We do that because we're familiar with making bigger stories and dramas. Then the mind becomes habituated with that, following the distracted thoughts, following delusion. Delusion is simply an imbalance in our mind. Veils of obscuration are these delusions. And they keep us from experiencing the clear, knowing nature of your mind. That's really your mind. Clear and knowing. Clear and aware. So people say, that's not my mind. My mind's not clear at all. Its real nature is clear light nature. We don't experience it because we're not familiar. Meditation, you slowly take it down a few notches. Relax, set a good motivation. And right now, let's just notice the bubbles of thoughts that appear in our mind. Whatever distractions come, just observe them from a detached place. This can be really helpful to help you let them go more readily. We can notice, but right now it's our meditation time. So I can just let them go. I can focus on those things I need to do later. I have the rest of my day to focus on those. We wake up often with our lists and agendas for the day. And a lot of times they're mowing over us. So if we can just notice and I can watch my mind, be aware, there's anxiety in my mind, you might say. Oh, there's anger in my mind. Just watch that bubble. Sometimes it's a big bubble. That's okay. Let it go. Watch it float off. Bubbles still float. They're light. If you want, can you notice where that thought comes from? You notice the thought changing, molting into another thought. See them as bubbles floating through space. The quicker you let them go, the less imprint a heavy delusion has to take root in your mind. Okay? Yes, on a practical reality, we have to deal with our lives, absolutely. But you want to deal with them and all the issues and problems of your life from a balanced perspective. So if you like, close your eyes again. And as you just allow a normal, natural breath to move through your system, we're just going to notice right now what thoughts, what experiences are popping up in your consciousness. Try to observe them in a detached manner. And through observing, you're getting familiar with your mind. Notice as if there's a certain emphasis of certain kinds of thoughts as opposed to other thoughts. You might notice, I don't have a lot of positive, happy thoughts right now. So you might interject, what would be a positive, happy thought to bring in? And then suddenly your mind is there. Right? So, first, we have to become aware before we can shift the focus. So, as you do it from a relaxed space, just observe 5 minutes. So, here's what might happen for you: you're noticing thoughts. And for instance, I've had thoughts about Ukraine. Many of us have. You might have thoughts about you're worried about your family. You're worried about something at work that you have to do, having a problem in your relationship. You're worried about money. These are all common things people are concerned with right now. So, first, we notice the bubbles of worry. Now, let's explore. So, what we need to do is start analyzing what to do about it. This is how you gain control over your mind. I find worry is different than concern. Concern is more practical and realistic, positive. Worry, you're just ruminating negatively, and it creates a deep trench of worry, fear, and anxiety in your mind. It's just an imbalance, a delusion. Here's what concern says. I'm just using an example of Ukraine. I'm across the world from that area, as many of you are. You have a wish to help. What can we do? So the mind starts getting cluttered with thoughts of those poor people. How is this happening? This is due to greed and power and delusion. My interfaith group in Pennsylvania, which is across the country from me, are packing boxes that are going to a relief agency. I'm not aware of what's happening where I'm living. So I think, should I start that? I want to do something like that. I want to give money. What can I do? And all these clutter of thoughts enter your mind like a work project. I have to do all this. I'm not ready. I don't have enough time. I don't like that person. You're having relationship problems. It's the same. You obsessively go through a variety of worrisome thoughts. Okay. I'm just going to use Ukraine right now because they need help. So I'm going to use the four immeasurables to work on that right now with all of you. The four immeasurable prayers, which are basically cultivating love or loving kindness. May all beings be happy. Okay? Compassion. May all beings be free from suffering. This is the essence of these prayers. Immeasurable joy. May all beings have ultimate happiness and immeasurable equanimity. May all beings feel equal regard for all beings rather than attachment or aversion. Four immeasurable prayers. This is one way. I'm just reaching for a prayer now, saying, what can I do for Ukraine? Well, maybe I can have a prayer or something like that. Lama Zopa Rinpoche has specific prayers we can recite now for Ukraine that you can find at fpmt.org, like that. But the four immeasurables, these prayers are immeasurable. And I want you to just have this thought in your head, start to visualize. We don't want to limit these prayers. We want to send them out immeasurably to all. And the other thing is to all beings, countless living beings. All over the planet, you can think. You could send them out to specific beings in your community that you're working with right now. And in this case, let's imagine to all of Ukraine, right? As well as Russia, to pacify. A lot of people there are not happy, not supporting this war. Maybe they can shower down this ripple effect to touch Vladimir Putin to help turn his mind to something gentle, something merged with bodhicitta. But let's just think about this right now in relation. So what I'd like you to do first is imagine the Buddha in the space in front of you, slightly higher than the level of your forehead, a golden, radiant light being. If you don't feel particularly aligned with that, have a golden light or something that represents the highest level of your wisdom, compassion, and loving kindness. This is something, a state you can manifest in the future, definitely. Just imagine the Buddha over top our practices, helping us, inspiring us. Okay? He went through all these endeavors as well before he became a Buddha. So we can do it too. He was an ordinary being like us at one point. He's draped in saffron robes, seated in the full meditation posture. Radiant smile on his lips, his eyes slightly closed to show he's in meditative stabilization, slightly opened because he acts to benefit all living beings. He's on a beautiful jeweled throne supported by 8 snow lions, so 2 on each corner, that represent his fearlessness. His blue-black hair curled up in a top knot on the top of his head with a crown protrusion, which is a sign of enlightenment. So as best as you can, imagine the Buddha as if he's really there. We're going to work through these 4 immeasurable prayers. Immeasurable loving kindness, I'm going to start with. Immeasurable love. The essence of love is wishing all beings, wishing others to be happy. That's the essence, wishing them to be happy. Not me to be happy, that's attachment. But what makes you happy? So I'd like you to just think in your mind right now. I'm going to read from this prayer how wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could have happiness and all the causes of happiness. So think about Ukraine right now. We're really sending this ripple of peace over there It's really about love. We really want every single being in Ukraine right now to have happiness and all the causes of happiness. If they can create the causes of happiness, if there's beings there that have that cause in their mind stream, and it begins to grow collectively, the war will stop. It does, what's in our mind does affect our external reality. Send this huge wish over to them. And if you like, ask for Shakyamuni Buddha's help right now. Please help all these beings to have happiness and the causes of happiness. Feel this big wish growing in your heart. And just think, may they abide in happiness. May I somehow cause them to abide in this happiness. And just think, please, Buddha, help me to be able to do this. Now, while you may think this is pie in the sky, how does little me sitting here in my room affect anything going on in Ukraine or the other side of the planet? Okay? But it's planting seeds in your mind, and you are part of the world. It's planting seeds in your mind right now, positivity, of huge positivity, to have the wish. It takes focus off of yourself and thinks, may they be happy and of all the causes of happiness. That does create a ripple effect on the planet, a positive ripple effect. And all of us here together right now, creating that. Try your best. Let's think about immeasurable compassion. Immeasurable compassion. May all beings be free of suffering and all the causes of suffering. All these beings, especially in Ukraine right now, especially Vladimir Putin, to be free of suffering, because he's creating tremendous suffering for himself, for his people, for Ukrainians, for the world, right? For his future lives. Unbelievable suffering, right? For all the Russian people. So let's think, may they be free, really feel in your heart, may they be free of suffering and all the causes of suffering. This is using our concern in a practical, constructive way. Drive it into your prayers, make those imprints in your mind. And think of these prayers touching every living being right now in Ukraine. That they be free from suffering. Just think, may I somehow cause them to be free of suffering and its causes? And ask the Buddha again, please help me to be able to do that. Help all of us to be able to do that. Let's think of the third immeasurable, immeasurable joy, immeasurable joy. Just think how wonderful it would be if all sentient beings, particularly those in Ukraine right now, were never separated from the happiness of higher rebirth and liberation. Feel in your heart, may they never be separated from these right now. Imagine these immeasurable waves of joy washing over Ukraine right now, subduing all the Russian soldiers there who really, many don't support this invasion, somehow washing through Vladimir Putin's mind, cleansing it of hostility, fear, power. And just think, may I myself cause beings to experience this immeasurable joy. Ask the Buddha for help. Please help me to be able to bring this about. And immeasurable equanimity, immeasurable equanimity. This is equal regard, equal respect for all beings. And this is what happens as we feel close to some, we're happy to help them. We feel distant from others, we don't want to help them. This is like Vladimir Putin's mind. He has a certain view, certain people he doesn't like, then he wants to harm. Okay? So let's send this out to them of how wonderful it would be if all beings, particularly those in Ukraine right now, were to abide in equanimity, particularly the Russian leaders who are causing this, so they would feel free from any closeness to some and aversion to others. May this subdue their hostility immediately. Send those prayers out, immeasurable, huge and vast. Send that wish, may all these beings abide in equanimity. Feel it touching every single one of their minds. So may Putin and his close group feel the same way they feel about themselves and their families to all the Ukrainians, to all Ukraine. And just think, may I cause this to happen? Ask the Buddha for help. Please help me. Please help me to be able to bring this about. And just imagine right now all the Ukrainian people freed, a ceasefire to take place immediately, the Russian soldiers retreating and laying down their arms, happy celebrations in the streets, positive connection, some sort of peace made between Russia and Ukraine immediately, something subdued in Putin's mind immediately due to the nature of our prayers. Just observe your own mind for a moment, how you feel. And in conclusion, may we dedicate whatever positive energy that we've created from doing this practice to help all the beings in Ukraine immediately, to help to subdue all conflicts everywhere on the planet. May these prayers also help us, these practices to help us invigorate our own practices, helping us to develop a rich, consistent meditation practice, a study practice that will help us reach that fully enlightened state as quickly as possible, but for the real purpose so we can perfectly benefit all living beings. Thank you so, so much. And just in closing, any questions you might have. But I just wanted to mention, if you're thinking of any questions, this is something I do in daily life. So it could be the four immeasurables when I feel helpless in a situation. Tong Lin meditation we've done before, we will do again in these meditation sessions, giving and taking, very profound practice. That sometimes that's the best we can do, but at least we're creating positive energy in our minds. We're sending that positive energy out to all beings. Sometimes that's the best you can do. And sometimes that positive energy takes root to deepen your practice and lends you some more creative thoughts in your mind of how better you can help, like that. I'd like to dedicate also to the long lives of our precious gurus, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, especially for all the beings of Ukraine, for this incident, this war to stop immediately, for all those with COVID and other mental, physical imbalances, may they be healed instantly. May all of you be well. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining, and please be well.
Thank you, Venerable Amy. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.